So what's the food like there? Because in Korea, food is super spicy. I feel like with Korean food, you get 2 choices, maybe 3: spicy, spicier, and spiciest. And all of your poo is like
like fire.
that swirling ring of orange freaking lava kimchi poo.
Okay, Japan is the opposite. Food is very bland. To me, it's very bland. Like, you're familiar with sushi, and it's rice and raw fish, and so everybody knows sushi. But then there's like desserts. Like if you go into a dessert shop, they always have like these beautiful looking desserts and crackers, and like everything is packaged very nicely, like gift wrapped almost. Like everything looks like Christmas presents. But then you open it up and you'll eat it, and it just doesn't. It tastes very bland to a Westerner, to someone coming from, a place that is saturated fat, salt, and sugar. So to us, everything is super bland and and soft.
And you know what? My first experience when I lived in Japan, I had gone into this bakery, and I thought I was getting a Danish with cream cheese and pineapple. I bit into that thing, and the minute I tasted that sour vinegar mayo, I freaking spit that right out. I couldn't even hold it in. It was like mayonnaise with American blocks of cheese. And it wasn't even cold. It was warm. It was so nasty. Okay, because we were talking about earlier how the mayo 21 minutes for this video.
Cheers,
and today Australia, throw another shrimp on the barbie. And they're like, we don't
do that anymore.
We don't say, Damn. Now we're the ignorant Americans. Let me tell you something.
We're from Canada. We're from Canada.
Oh, how embarrassing. One thing that's so funny, I love Australia. I mean, coming from Korea, I love Korea. You guys know I love Korea. But coming from, it's strict there, man. It's so conservative, and just coming here,
it's
Japan. Laid back, and like,
we can show some skin here.
Yes, I can show my shoulders. Like,
I don't have to cover my mouth every time I yawn. In Japan, that's polite.
Shouldn't you be covering your mouth every time you yawn anyhow?
Sometimes. I just want to let it flow freely.
But yeah, so it's really nice being here. Like, it's January. It's freaking super trippy because it's like 70, 80 degrees, and there's Christmas decorations up, and your mind's like, my mind's telling me no, this isn't right. And it's just amazing. And I was watching the news the other day. I'm staying with a friend. She's Korean Australian, so I have a place to stay, which is really nice. I was watching the news at her place, and Carson Daly gave who was playing in the Super Bowl, he gave the wrong team. Yes, he did. Okay, but anyways,
why does that not surprise me?
Yeah, right. I was like, still a tool, man, still a tool. So, and then I was like, Super Bowl in June?
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
It feels like summer, but it is their summer here.
Yeah, so that's kind of trippy. And let me just say, Australians are so dang manly.
They named a beach after them.
Wouldn't you agree? Like, I mean, well, we don't really know.
Except for the ones downtown they're just dressed too pretty. But yeah, mostly.
And like, we've had some guys like come up to us. Like the first night we went out, like these guys. Oh, one looked like Ryan Gosling. He was so hot. He like came up, like 2 guys came up and bought us like a
glass at first.
First they bought us a glass of wine. And then they bought, what was it?
A big old carafe.
Yeah, of wine. And then, like, I would have loved to stand and hang out with them, but it was getting late. They were getting very uncomfortably close.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then, like, we've met some, it's pretty nice. How about the guys in Japan? Do they come up to you?
No.
And when I lived in Japan, they didn't come up to me either. Not one guy.
Not a one. They don't look me in the eye. They pretty much just, I feel like I don't exist, really. Like, that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah. I'm sorry that we're being
because
so
I
hood-rich
live off base. I live off base, and so I do commute, either on foot or on bicycle or in a car, but mostly on foot or on bicycle. And yeah, mostly the guys, they everybody's very polite.
Yeah.
I feel like I go completely unnoticed.
That's how I felt. And a lot of you guys have asked me what was the major difference from when I lived in Japan and now living in Korea, and I said the dudes. Well, that's not the major difference, but like of course it's the one thing I noticed. Like the dudes come up to you on the street in Korea. Like the dudes are very, I don't want to use the word aggressive. I've used that a lot in my blog, but I would say forward. Whereas in Japan,
Absolutely not.
Nothing.
But it's super polite too, like super polite country with, and yeah.
Do you find Japanese guys attractive?
Some of them.
But I mean overall.
Not personally for me, but I see beauty within. Like, I could. Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah, and I find Japanese women very, very beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I find Korean men very attractive, but then again, I find any attractive man attractive. So my neck has been going left, right, all over the place in Australia. There are so many Italians and Germans here.
There's a good mix here.
Yeah, and that's what's been really nice about being here is I feel
it's like being back in the States.
No.
Okay.
That
We disagree on this.
I've been disagreeing on this the whole time.
Since we
It's
got here.
far more cosmopolitan here than it is even in New York. I'm sorry, there are people I can't even place where they're from or what they are. You can just scoop up a handful and have the globe just within that, eye range. And I feel like in the States, yeah, we have tons of different people coming in and out, but I feel like they're off in their little enclaves, their little communities.
You're definitely right. Yeah, you're definitely right about that.
And here, they're just everybody, everywhere, walking along the street. I mean, this is like...
We're close to the islands. We're close to Indonesia. We're closer to India.
We're in I don't know, just a kid. I'm like a kid in a candy shop because I love everybody from all over the place, almost everybody. There's a few people I'm not too fond of, but for the most part, I love everybody from all over the place. Okay, let's get back to our here. All right, let's talk about your hair.
Okay.
You're natural. And how long have you been natural for?
Probably maybe 8 years.
I'd like to say you've been natural your whole life since I've known you, which has been, 15 years?
Yeah, well, I was straightening it for a while.
She was straightening it.
So still natural, but just straightened with heat.
Yeah.
No perm.
So now, she's never had a perm.
No, I have had when I was
you did?
when I was really little.
Okay, but when I knew you, you didn't have a perm.
No.
Okay, she was
Just
always
flat
straight.
ironing.
Now you don't straighten.
Right.
She has straightened her hair a few times, and it's beautiful. It's so long
and I definitely get a different reaction in Japan.
Oh,
everywhere,
really?
everywhere.
Okay.
People react to you differently when you have long, straight hair.
Let's talk about that. When you have your Beyonce hair. What? When you got your Beyonce, how do people treat
Which hair is that? Straighter?
Well, straight.
Okay, yeah. People look at you. They notice you.
Or do you think they're afraid to look into the darkness when you have your hair out natural?
I don't know, and I don't know, and I've thought about it before. I find it a little disturbing myself. I just
Wait, you find it disturbing to look at yourself?
No, I find it disturbing how people treat me when my hair is straight versus how people and I don't want to say treat, but like just a different. And it's not something that they do consciously. It's just, the humans prefer maybe one thing over another. We have to choose something to be beautiful and something to be that we think is less beautiful.
But and although the world may find the fro not as beautiful.
Yeah, but the
as
masses
straight
aren't
hair.
always right.
Exactly.
We know that.
What do you do for fun in Japan?
I run.
You're a runner. One of those vegetarian. Can I get a paper? I brought my own bag. I'm a runner. Like, oh God, save the earth, save the whales. Hell, save the black male. Okay, just kidding. Okay.
Yeah,
so you
we
run.
My husband and I I run together.
You have a
the
husband?
city. Oh, yes.
She's married. And did you marry an Asian?
Maybe. We're all mixed with a little something.
You don't want to say what your husband is?
My husband he's a mix of Caucasian ethnicities.
In other words, she married a white boy. Do you talk to your neighbors? Do you have Japanese friends?
All of my I do not have any Japanese friends. I have, because the language barrier. Everyone speaks Japanese.
Yeah.
I live at the end of a cul-de-sac. My immediate neighbor speaks a little bit of English.
Yeah.
Nobody else on my entire block speaks English. So we have when we cross paths, we say hello and how are you and just the pleasantries, but mostly,
Do you kind of wish you had some Japanese friends?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Meetup.com, I'm telling you.
I know. And if I was like really wanting to learn the language, but I just don't.
But you know what?
It's so difficult.
Here's
I don't
the thing.
know if I have that
I
in me.
feel. Okay, because I've talked about this. We've talked about this in some other videos. I feel like I regurgitate a lot of the same stuff. But you start learning the language, and the problem is, depending on what type of speaker you are, it can take you 10 minutes to spit out how are you, where are you going, And nobody has time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a slow process in learning the language. Who's going to stick around for that, So I definitely sense the...
But a lot of Japanese are trying to learn English too. So if I wanted to, it's not difficult to find a language partner where you can just go back and forth. Like
then you just
they will actually pay you. It's not that I don't want to. I just have 3 years there, and it will take. Believe me,
that's a long time.
I am an environmental science major, and all my brain cells are taken up with math and physics, and that's my.
What can you not find in Japan? What do you miss from like America? There's things in Korea that you just can't find. Hold on, let me just cut in. I'm gonna let you finish, Taylor. But okay, full-length towels. Like they don't have those in Korea. You cannot find a full-length towel in Korea. Razor blades and shaving cream. Those are difficult things to find because most people know Asian people don't wear hats. So like, how about in Japan?
Okay. Well, I am close to a military base, so it's a little bit different.
But don't think about that.
Okay.
Like outside of that.
Okay, for sure. For all of the tofu, I want to know why I can't find any tofu hot dogs. Like it's just tofu. Like they don't actually make anything with the tofu.
Can't you make your own tofu hot dog?
No, I don't know how. So yeah, that's one thing that like I would love to have. I miss it. They're here in Australia, but we won't talk about how expensive food is here.
Okay, compared to, is Japan expensive?
Not compared to American prices, it's slightly more expensive, but public transportation extremely cheap and extremely efficient.
What's the average daily ticket return?
$1.50 to $3.
$6 here in Australia, and
$6 and change, like $6.80,
and don't have to take the ferry to one of the beaches. That'll cost you $8.
That's one way. $7 one way.
In Korea, it's cheap. It's so cheap. Like I don't know, like $1.25 to catch the bus, maybe $2 for the train, if even. So yeah. Okay, back to things you can't find other than tofu hot dogs.
Well, definitely black hair products. I mean, that for sure. Any makeup that is in my complexion.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of a given, huh?
Yeah, probably all given. Food is a big deal. It's strictly Japanese food. When I came here, I was so happy to see the falafel and the samosas and the pizza. Like, oh my goodness. Even everything has a Japanese spin on it. Like, even if you go to the same restaurant, you can taste the seaweed. You can taste Japanese flavors in whatever you're eating.
You order
and those
a pizza,
are rare.
And out come some radishes. Like, pizza and radishes go together.
Exactly.
So, yeah, definitely. Oh, it's so nice being in Australia.
It is.
Gosh, it's so nice.
Place.
I highly recommend going out. If you don't want to go all the way back to America, like, we were worried about going to, I don't know if you were worried. I was worried about going to Australia. They say a lot of things about Australia being a super racist place, and I thought they were.
I only heard that from you.
Mistake us as Aborigines and mistreat us. That's what someone told me. Someone I used to date told me they're gonna think you're an Aborigine and treat you badly.
They're definitely very aware of. Did you see in the park? There's a National Sorry Day.
And we haven't experienced anything. I mean, those guys did call us Negroes, but. Remember those two guys?
Oh yes.
But
in jest, I mean not.
In jest, yeah. But other than that, everyone's been nice, and I mean they've been helping us out, like if we're lost, and just kind of going out of their way, and you just get a friendliness that you don't get in Korea. Now in Japan, people are pretty.
They're very, very friendly, but they're even more than they're friendly. They're polite, so
they're not gonna say no.
And there's the language barrier too. So if you ask somebody for directions, they're not even gonna understand you. So don't even bother. But when you're on the train, everybody is sitting with their bag on their lap. You see businessmen, shoppers.
Hell no, it's not like that in
on
Korea.
The lap. Nobody elbows. I mean, everybody cues. Hey, listen to me, cues.
Let me tell you something. In Korea, you be lucky if somebody moves their bag. They're gonna give you a side eye, talking about this seat's reserved for my bag.
That's what I'm saying. Like Japan is like no other country.
Yeah.
But
at the same time, don't let us fool you. We know that Japan. We didn't talk about Japan-Korea relationship.
Yes.
So I live in Korea. So dang, we're running out of tape.
Japan-Asia relationship.
Even my students cannot stand the Japanese. I don't even think they know the ramifications. They hear their parents, they hear their grandparents. But from the Korea side, because of what Japan did to Korea, they can't stand it.
This is something that I'm just learning about because it's in the newspapers all the time. Yeah. I'm reading the Japan Times. It's one of the only English Japanese newspapers. And so not having known anything about
16 seconds, go!
Not having known anything about it, I just realized how much conflict there is and how, and you will definitely read about it.
But do the Japanese people kind of sweep it under the rug?
Yes, it's really controversial. They're even just recently, the Prime Minister of Japan, he went to a certain shrine that honored all war heroes, including the ones who committed war crimes. And I didn't know anything about this, but it's all over the newspapers. Everyone is upset with Japan, and I had no idea about this.
Yeah. So, and
they want to be friends, but these things like honoring the war criminals like that.
They honor the war criminals.
Well, it's a shrine for all war heroes, but included in that is people who have committed a crime.
That's a slap in the face.
Yeah. Everybody's very upset about it.
So in Korea, you can go, I think on a Wednesday or a Thursday, I'm not sure, in front of the Japanese embassy. The comfort women who, if you don't know what that is, I'm sorry, you gotta look it up. Wikipedia help you out real fast. But the comfort women are protesting outside of the embassy. They want their dues.
It's not just that they're kind of like sweeping it under the rug and saying that it never happened. Well, they did, and even the people at the highest levels are, they want to say that it never happened, and they make inflammatory statements to the press. And when I first got to Japan, I was hearing all about it. Before I even got to Japan, I was hearing about that.
It's kind of weird. Like, I feel like when I'm around German people, I just don't even bring up the Nazis or World War II or Hitler or anything. Like, when you said you don't have any Japanese friends, so I can't even ask about Korea or World War II or anything. But, like, I wonder if it's that same kind of feeling, like, we just don't talk about it. Until you get to that level where you can talk about it, when you're that comfortable with the people, and you can ask, what the hell did y'all do, But,
yeah, well, you can also find that. I mean, that's what I had to do, dig around on Wikipedia, because I had no idea.
Yeah. And from, I guess, America, because of their relationship with Japan during the time after the war, they kind of swept it under the rug. They didn't really make the Japanese look like the bad guys, and really, they were the reign of terror in Asia during that time.
Yeah, and we think of the Japanese culture as like, geishas, or Gecko, and you knew that I barely even remember from history that they were part of the Axis and not part of the Allies. You barely even remember that.
Okay, well, unfortunately, we are out of time, and I'm really glad that I got to see you. I'm going to Japan to stay with her, and she's coming to Korea, so we'll definitely do this again. Thanks for watching. We'll throw in some junk about Sydney. Get your party on, Australia. Australia is nice. I don't want to go back to Korea. It's cold. Done. Anyway, thanks for watching, and
good day, mate.
Throw another shrimp on the Barbie. And they don't say shrimp here. They say prawns. It's not a prawn.
Please hang up and try again.